19 days from an historic election.
We're going to win the state of North Carolina. We're going to win 4 more years in the White House.
Today, the president stumps for North Carolina votes just as early voting gets underway.
If there's ever time to vote, I guess it's now. This presidential election is especially important.
Tonight, we'll have the results on a new exclusive CBS 17 poll, and our analysts will tell you which candidates are on the way up and who's on the way out.
Many things can happen during the election itself that can sway people one way or the other.
Plus, as part of our political pledge, our Truth Tracker is putting negative campaign ads to the test. And you'll hear from the candidates in the biggest races, live from your local election headquarters. This is CBS 17 News.
Good evening, it's 9 p.m. and we were supposed to be watching the second presidential debate right now.
But the Presidential Debate Commission canceled it after President Trump tested positive for COVID-19 2 weeks ago and then refused to take part in a virtual-only debate.
So we have a 1 hour to catch up on all the busy news days heading into one of the most contentious elections in years.
Well, it's as close as it can possibly get. CBS 17 is your local election headquarters, and we want to show you our brand new exclusive poll numbers.
This CBS 17 Emerson College poll surveyed North Carolina voters this week, giving us a look at what voters are thinking on this first day of early in-person voting. Our Russ Bowen joins us now, breaking down some of the critical races, starting with the presidential race. Russ.
Yeah, when you say close, this is exactly what we're talking about. Let me show you this graphic. 49% of North Carolina voters say they will vote for Donald Trump. 49% also say they will vote for Joe Biden, while 2% say someone else. So before this new poll has been factored in, the Real Clear Politics average has Biden up by 3.3% in North Carolina, but our polling shows just how tight it is. And look at this, only 1 point separates the president's approval rating. 48% of North Carolinians approve of the job the president is doing, and 47% disapprove of what the president is doing. Now, we also asked if Senate candidate Cal Cunningham's admission of an extramarital affair and Tom Tillis's COVID-19 diagnosis will influence their vote. I'll have those results, and they are interesting, coming up.
Russ, thank you. President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden were supposed to debate tonight in Miami, but the president backed out after the event and went from an in-person event to a virtual one. Now, despite not having to debate, the candidates still went head-to-head tonight.
My question is about the coronavirus vaccine, or potential. Senator Harris stated that she absolutely would not take a vaccine from President Trump. And of course, we all know it's not President Trump that would create this vaccine. It would be doctors and scientists that presumably we all trust. So my question for you is, if a vaccine were approved between now and the end of the year, would you take it? And if you were to become president, would you mandate that everyone has to take it?
2 things. Number one, President Trump talks about things that just aren't accurate about everything from vaccines. We're going to have one right away. It's going to happen and so on. The point is that if the body of scientists say that this is what is ready to be done and it's been tested, it's gone through the 3 phases, yes, I would take it. I'd encourage people to take it.
Now, while Joe Biden was on ABC, President Trump was live from Miami on NBC. The network didn't back down from its decision to schedule President's town hall in the same time slot as Biden's event. More than 100 Hollywood celebrities sent a letter to NBC asking the network to change the time of the Trump event.
Was in North Carolina today and did a big rally. We had a tremendous turnout, and just feel really good. Florida, Pennsylvania, we're all over the place. It's been great.
You received some treatments that are generally reserved for those with the most severe form of the disease.
Yeah.
How severe were your symptoms? In particular, did you have pneumonia?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel strong. I had a little bit of a temperature. The doctors at the White House are fantastic, as you can imagine, and they really didn't want to take a chance. And they said, "Let's go to the hospital." I said, "That's okay. I'm going to, respond to what you say." And we went over to Walter Reed, where you have tremendous professionals. They gave me Regeneron and Remdesivir both, and all I know is I felt good. The following day, I felt really good.
The candidates are scheduled to meet one last time next Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee. But at this time, we don't know if the debate will even happen.
And I won't forget
Now, before going to Miami, President Trump stopped off right here in North Carolina. This is video of him arriving this afternoon at the Greenville airport. CBS 17's Colleen Quigley has more from the Make America Great rally.
More than 1,000 people attended this rally here at Pitt Greenville Airport today. President Trump has visited North Carolina several times during his re-election campaign. His supporters saying that's really no surprise considering this state is a key battleground come November.
A crowd of supporters greeted President Trump as he stepped off Air Force One at Pitt Greenville Airport Thursday.
We're leading in North Carolina. Poll just came out.
We're celebrating America, freedom, and the ability to come out and support our candidate.
For some, it was their first time seeing the president in person.
Amazed.
Like Kathy DiNardo and Debbie Trango, who drove from Raleigh for the rally.
This is the first, and we're really excited. We've been excited for the last couple days about being here.
The pair said they wanted to show the president he has support in the Tar Heel state, which experts say is a must-win for Trump.
We only won this state by a thin margin last time.
Something echoed by several supporters.
This is one of the deciding states, and we all know it, and it's very divided.
With early voting in North Carolina beginning the same day as the stop in the state, the president encouraged everyone to go out and vote.
And while we covered this rally today, we did take a look and felt that most of the people in the crowd were wearing masks, although several were not. And a group of physicians in North Carolina sent a letter to President Trump's campaign demanding that he actually cancel this rally today, citing a danger to public health, saying the president has really downplayed the seriousness of the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting in Greenville, Colleen Quigley, CBS 17 News.
Colleen, thank you. Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris had to scrap her plans for in-person events today in Asheville and Charlotte after 2 staff members tested positive for COVID-19. But she did shuffle plans and hosted a virtual event instead.
I'm so happy to be a part of the campaign that is going to flip North Carolina blue up and down the ballot. This, frankly, is probably the most important election in the history of our nation. And we are up against a president who has overseen a terrible breakdown in the way that we treat each other.
I wanted to be with you in person, but it seems like a lot of you were so busy hitting the pavement this morning on the very first day of early voting. I've never seen lines so long in North Carolina.
Senator Harris and her husband both tested negative for COVID-19. And this is video of Vice President Pence leaving for Miami earlier today. Tomorrow afternoon, he will be in North Carolina for a Make America Great event in Selma. And starting next week, former President Barack Obama will step out to support his former vice president. President Obama plans on visiting a handful of critical battleground states where voting is underway, including North Carolina. His schedule hasn't been finalized yet, but we will let you know when we find out more.
And today is the first day of early voting in North Carolina, and already thousands of voters have cast their ballots. We wanted to know how most people were planning to vote. 11% of those asked said they already voted. 43% said they are waiting until Election Day. 46% plan to vote by mail or during early voting.
I'm very excited. I feel proud, I guess, of people for coming out because we got here at 6 and already at 6:30 the line was so much longer. So I hope everyone comes to vote. I hope people come early so they can get their vote in, get counted.
Yeah, just look at the lines of people showing up on the first day of early voting. More than 270,000 people in North Carolina voted just today. And we found people in line as early as 5 o'clock this morning. CBS 17's Steve Sprasia talked to those waiting in line.
In Garner this morning, the opening of polling saw long lines that began to moderate somewhat by 9 a.m.
I definitely knew it was important for me to get out and actually vote in person myself to make sure that it counts.
In Apex, one person described the early lines as something like what you'd see at a theme park, initially wrapping around the polling place building and then out to the street. Polling places in Cary also did a brisk business as people turned out early to vote. Inside of this Raleigh polling place, an early problem with the machine forced them to use an emergency tabulator until the machine was replaced.
How long have you waited so far?
Actually, I have been here since about 10 o'clock.
but I think they had a machine to break down, so that's what slowed it up. So it's beginning to move a lot faster now.
This election is generating intense interest with both local and national candidates, which accounts for the long lines that surprised first-time voter Sabrina Riley, who just became a citizen a couple of months ago.
Honestly, I had no idea what to expect since it was my first go-around.
Candidates and COVID were both on the minds of voters today.
Are you happy that seems to be good social distancing between folks waiting in line?
Yeah. Nothing was really like too close, too packed. Everything seemed pretty safe. It was, pretty sanitary.
For many of those voting early, COVID-19 is still a major concern. That's why they're making sure that they are taking care of themselves by social distancing inside the polling place. They're disinfecting pens and wiping down voting booths in between each person who's voting. I'm Steve Frazier, CBS 17 News.
Steve, thank you. It's the most contested and most expensive race in the country. Next, and only on CBS 17, the latest poll results showing what's going on in the North Carolina U.S. Senate race. But first, we want you to vote in our poll right now. Go on the CBS 17 News app right now and answer the following question. Are you concerned about getting COVID-19 while voting in person? Right now, 85% say no. They are not worried about COVID-19 at the polls.